Welcome to the Restoration Pros Unplugged podcast. In each episode, we're going to bring you insightful interviews and discussions with top restoration industry leaders. We're also going to delve into their business, the strategies that made them successful, and most importantly, the valuable lessons they've learned along the way. I'm your host, Clinton James. I'm also the Chief Marketing Officer at Water Restoration Marketing. We're a digital marketing agency dedicated to helping restoration companies nationwide secure more high-value water jobs. Now, this show, it aims to provide you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the restoration industry. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I want to thank everybody for jumping on Zoom and attending today's webinar. My name's Clinton James. Today's webinar, we're going to talk a little bit about the Google Maps Playbook for water damage restoration companies in 2025. This is a subject that's really near and dear to my heart because our agency focuses on generating more emergency water jobs. And we do that in a bunch of ways, but one of the most important ways is we try to get our restoration clients into that map pack. It is that valuable. It's that important to restoration companies. It can be a great marketing channel that drives calls that turn into on-site visits and, more importantly, jobs there. I'm going to want to ask everybody during today's webinar, if you could please take a few minutes, turn off your distractions, Slack notifications, email messages, things like that. I know you guys are busy. A lot of you guys are owner-operators, and I'm certainly not asking you to put aside emergency calls that are coming in. But I promise you, if you give this webinar some attention today, give me 30, 45 minutes, this will definitely make an impact in your business and definitely drive more high-value restoration jobs for you. In terms of what we're going to cover today is all about the maps. I want to talk to you guys about the latest updates that are impacting the map rankings, right? Because we know that Google uses a bunch of different ranking factors. So we're going to talk a little bit about what those ranking factors are, what you can do to impact your Google business profile and rank better in the maps. I'm going to give you 5 of the biggest mistakes that I see day in and day out that are being made by restoration companies on their Google business profile and through their SEO efforts that are really hurting your restoration company and keeping you from that map pack ranking that will generate that additional revenue for you. I'm also going to show you a proven blueprint, part of which is what our team at Water Restoration Marketing uses day in and day out to help our clients to secure one of those top 3 rankings. And then finally, I'm going to show you guys some tools that our agency has invested a lot of money in that really allow us to simplify and automate some of the activities that are necessary to really scale for success and improve those rankings. Now, why does this matter? Well, let's talk a little bit about emergency services as a whole, right? Gone are the days where people would grab their yellow pages, look through their yellow pages, call somebody for a referral there when they have an emergency restoration situation, especially something like emergency water damage, right? Everybody's got a supercomputer in their back pocket. So when they have an emergency water damage situation, it's really important on your restoration company being found instantly when they're going to a place like Google looking for some help. When someone has flooding water damage, they're not necessarily going to do a whole lot of due diligence and research. They Google, they make an immediate decision, they call, and they act fast because, again, they're in the middle of an emergency there. So it's really important that you show up in maps in your service area when these people are doing these searches. If you're not there, you are undeniably missing out on those opportunities, right? You're missing out on those calls. You're missing out on calls that are turning into on-site visits and on-site visits that are turning into jobs. Now, a little bit about myself for those of you who do not know me. My name is Clinton James. I am the Chief Marketing Officer and one of the partners with Water Restoration Marketing. We are an agency that has worked exclusively with water restoration companies over the last 8 years to help them grow. I also host a podcast called the Restoration Pros Unplugged podcast. It's given me an opportunity to talk to dozens of restoration company owners and several other businesses that help people in the restoration space. So I've been doing that for over a year, had some great conversations. So if you're not subscribed or following my podcast, go check it out. It's the Restoration Pros Unplugged podcast. Now, through our agency, Water Restoration Marketing, I've also had the privilege of helping hundreds of restoration companies over the last few years grow, specifically through the digital marketing strategies that we use and some of the stuff that we're going to show you here today. Now, there's a lot to take in and a lot of best practices that you guys can implement yourself that will move the needle. However, I know some of you guys, you're going to listen to this content today, you're going to take down a bunch of notes, and you're going to realize, hey, I don't know that I have the time, the desire, or the interest to become a subject matter expert when it comes to improving my Google business profile ranking. That's why I want to invite you, whether you're a do-it-yourselfer or somebody who thinks they might need a good strategic partner to help you grow through digital marketing, you can book a strategy call with myself. No obligation. You can scan the QR code or visit the website waterrestorationmarketing.com/schedule. I'll give you guys a few minutes to either write that down or scan the QR code. But during this call, it's not a sales call, folks. We're going to do a free audit for you on your online presence. When I say online presence, I'm talking about your digital assets, your website, your Google business profile. What we're looking to do with you is we want to identify the holes in those assets that ultimately are costing you guys business right now. When you walk away from this strategy call with me, I'm going to give you some very clear takeaways that you can go and you can fix on your own that will help improve your visibility and improve your ranking. And then if it makes good sense, well, you can also learn a little bit about how my team over at Water Restoration Marketing can partner with your restoration company to help you grow through the things that we've done for the last 8 years to really move the needle in terms of growing restoration businesses. Now, I just did a podcast last week talking about how AI is really impacting search, but let me be crystal clear. Maps still matter, right? It's absolutely a game changer for restoration companies. Hell, if you're any local service business, if you can get into the maps, that's going to be money for you. In one of these major markets, if you can secure a top 6 ranking, you will literally be able to print cash because those Google Map rankings, they control a lot of the real estate. And even though I'm a huge a proponent of running ads because I think ads is a great way for you to get to the top of the page, control some of that real estate, get immediate calls that turn into on-site visits and jobs. And search engine optimization is something that might take some additional time. Organic results are still important, and they drive over 70% of all the clicks when you're talking about home service businesses. So securing one of those top 3 spots in your local service area when somebody's looking for a restoration company is absolutely huge. Plus, because the map pack displays not only the business name, but in most cases an address for that business and a set of reviews, that's social proof. So those calls that come from people that find you in the Google Maps, they have a tendency to convert better into on-site visits and jobs. And that's really the name of the game because people are seeing that. They're seeing your business, they're seeing that you're local, and they're also seeing that there's dozens of other people in the community who have elected to use your service that have had positive things to say about you. So that's really, really important for you. Maps aren't going anywhere. They are very important. As I mentioned, we did a webinar previously about how AI is really impacting search for home service businesses, but make no mistake about it, Google is still king. If you're in an emergency situation, whether it's emergency water damage, you've got fire and smoke damage, even mold, people are still going to Google. And a lot of the best practices that you do in terms of improving your ranking when it comes to Google, they're also going to play a role in getting you a better ranking when people are using tools like ChatGPT or like Gronk or like Claude, when they're using those either answer engines or generative engines to try to find the best company or service provider in their area there. So a lot of things that we talk about today are going to impact both rankings, both through the AEO and GEO, and also your organic rankings on Google. So these are all best practices. You want to rank well in maps and you want to rank well in AI-powered search results. All right, so why are Google Maps listings essential? Well, first and foremost, if you don't have one, that should be the first thing that you do after this call. If you don't know how to claim your Google business profile, then please reach out to me. My team can definitely help you with that. But these Google Map listings are absolutely essential because Customers that are in the middle of an emergency, let's talk about emergency water damage. They're not browsing. They're not spending 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour doing research on a bunch of different businesses before they pick up the phone. They grab that supercomputer in their back pocket called a smartphone. They're going to do a quick search. They don't browse. They make a quick decision. And that map pack gives them not only your business, that you're local, but also a little social proof in terms of the experience that other homeowners in that community have had working with you. Google Maps drive really high intent, ready to buy calls. When I say ready to buy, I'm talking about ready to make a decision to get you, your project manager, one of your technicians on site so that you can start immediate mitigation there. PPC alone, while it's a great tool that a lot of my clients use to get the phone ringing, get a consistent flow of job coming in, it's just not enough anymore, right? You not only want to run successful ad campaigns, but you also want to rank well in the maps where you can. Another great advantage to those map rankings is once you're there and you continue to do best practices and you stay there, you're going to get those calls and you're not going to be paying per click. You're not going to be paying per call. And those are probably the lowest customer acquisition cost new customers that you're going to get. So those map rankings are absolutely critical. So we don't want to rely and be in that hamster wheel where we're paying for clicks or we're paying for leads or we're paying for referrals or we're paying for calls. These organic rankings can really get you out of that hamster wheel and allow you to take control of the new business that's coming in as a result of or a result of your online marketing there. Now, there have been some big changes over the last few years when it comes to Google Maps, right? I remember a time where there weren't three, there were actually seven local businesses that they displayed on the home screen when you did a search looking for a home service business. Now they've limited that to three. So that's a really big change. Ads can now appear in the map results. So you're going to get your three top ranked businesses, but occasionally you'll see an ad being run in the map section for another business that actually paid to get that position and own that piece of real estate on a Google search. Google local service ads are also a big thing. They're starting to show up more and more often when you're looking for either a restoration company or any other home service business. So if you're not taking advantage of local service ads, while they do have some challenges, I definitely encourage you to reach out to me and my team. We can show you how to make those a great marketing channel as well. And then AI competition is heating up. People are starting to use these AI tools as search tools, right? Even though 90+% of the traffic is still coming through Google, there's still other competitors out in the marketplace. So we want to make sure that whatever we're doing to optimize your online assets, it's impacting the map ranking and any other search tools that folks might be using. So when my agency works with a restoration company, we really want to own the search results. Now, what do I mean by when I say that? Well, we want our restoration businesses to appear everywhere. Everywhere I'm talking about the very top of the page where you've got your local service ads and your pay-per-click. Then I want my clients to show up in their service area in the map pack, a top three ranking. That's great real estate, high intent people that are going to go there, they're going to call you, and those are going to turn into some great opportunities for you. Also, I want my clients to show up in the organic results. I know if you scroll below the maps, you'll see not just restoration companies, you'll see a lot of lead generation companies like Yelp and like Angie's and like Thumbtack. And even the Better Business Bureau shows up a lot in a lot of markets when you're looking for a restoration company. I ultimately want to get my clients onto the first page in the organic results as well. And then don't forget the other review sites and directories, companies like Angie's, Yelp. These directories, even though I don't necessarily encourage you to go spend a bunch of money generating leads on those platforms, you still want to show up there. You want to capture leads when possible to those other platforms, but make no mistake about it. The most valuable review you can get from a homeowner or a business owner that you guys have provide restoration services to, the most valuable review that you can get is going to be that Google review. So you want to put systems in place that allow your technicians or allow your team members to make sure that they're asking every homeowner or business owner that has a positive experience with your restoration company to leave you guys a 5-star review. Now, I get the privilege of talking to folks, whether they're clients or prospects that are thinking about working with my agency. I get a chance to do some research, right? I get a chance to look at their websites. I get a chance to look at their Google business profiles, see what they're doing and what they're not doing. And I've really identified 5 things that I think are really hurting rankings. So I want to go through those with you guys. The first is no real office in your service area. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule, right? Proximity is only one ranking factor that Google considers when they're deciding who's going to show up in the map pack there. But I can tell you, especially in the competitive markets out there, having a real office that you can get through Google's verification process, having that address displayed on your Google business profile is going to help a business immensely. Now, some of you might be owner operators that currently work out of your home or they work out of a warehouse that's not necessarily in your ideal service area. If you're working with me in my agency, one of the things that's going to be on the roadmap to driving success doesn't necessarily have to happen tomorrow, but it's to get a real office or maybe even multiple offices in your service area. Because again, proximity is a ranking factor. So, how close is your address to that homeowner or that business owner that's doing a search looking for your restoration services? Another big mistake I see is inconsistency. Now, the name that's displayed on your Google business profile also needs to be the name that's displayed on your website, the content that you generate, your social media pages, any directories that you have out there. You want to make sure that the address is consistent across all of those platforms and the phone number as well. Now, we use a lot of tracking numbers. So the good thing about Google business profiles is they allow for a primary and a secondary number. So we can still keep that consistency with your website and your directory listings and your Google business profile and still add a tracking number there so that we can keep track of the calls that are coming specifically from that digital asset being your Google business profile. Another thing I see that doesn't work is keyword stuffing or what they consider spammy names, right? So let's say you're ABC Restoration LLC. A lot of people used to try to pack that business name with a bunch of terms that they thought would improve their ranking. So it's ABC Restoration LLC hyphen Austin, Texas, right? That is not part of the business name. And Google has made a concerted effort to go and look at the verification documents that you provided to make sure that the name that your entity is registered under is the same number that's displayed. You may have gotten away with it, but I'm telling you, Google is doing consistent audits on Google business profiles. And if that information does not line up, it's going to negatively impact your ranking and in some cases lead to suspensions. And if your Google business profile is suspended, that doesn't mean you're not showing up in the map pack. That means you're not showing up at all in the maps there. So that's really, really important. You want to get away from those trying to keyword stuff or make changes to the business name when it's being displayed. Another thing I see a lot is just not enough recent reviews. So I was talking to a restoration company a couple days ago. They've been in business for over a decade, but when we go to their Google business profile, what do we see? They've got 16 reviews and an average star rating of 4.6. Now, 4.6 is not a great average star rating. Obviously, you want to be 4.8, 4.9, 5.0. But the thing that was really a red flag to me was they've been in business for over a decade, and only 16 people have given them any kind of feedback on their Google business profile, good, bad, or ugly. That tells me that that restoration company does not have a system in place in which they are requiring their technicians or requiring their office staff to proactively reach out to those homeowners that have had a good experience working with them and asking them to write a review on their Google business profile. I'm telling you right now, it is important. It needs to become part of your day to day process. If you've been in business for years, if you're doing multiple water restoration jobs every single month, you need to have a system in place so that you guys and you're really empowering your technicians to go out there as they're wrapping up a job and asking for those reviews. And then you've got some additional tools via SMS and via email where you can also reach back out to those homeowners that haven't left a review yet and invite them to do so. Reputation is another ranking factor. And when I say reputation, I'm talking about your reviews, right? So they're looking at these other directories, but primarily their focus is on Google reviews. It is not just the average star rating, or the number of total reviews. It's also the frequency in which you're getting reviews from folks. So again, that's where that system comes into place. You need to make sure that over 50% of the jobs that you're doing, you're getting positive feedback from those or property owners in terms of a review on your Google business profile. And then finally, poor profile activity. Your Google business profile should not be a set it and forget it asset for the business. Okay. You need to constantly be going in there and making posts, constantly going in there and doing updates, constantly creating content, whether it's blogs or links back to your primary website, before and after pictures. All of those things are signals to Google that's showing them that you are utilizing their platform. When you utilize Google's platform, Google likes that. And all of those signals start to add up and they can really make a difference in terms of where you rank in the maps. So it should be something that is not set it, forget it. Our team works diligently to make sure that we're doing that activity on our clients' profiles so that it definitely improves their ranking there. So those are really 5 big mistakes that I see day in and day out when new restorations come to our agency looking for us to generate some work for them. Again, this is a lot of stuff. Those are a lot of things that you need to do. And some of you, quite frankly, don't have the time or the desire to do so. So if you're interested in having us potentially do that work for you, or you simply just want to see where your business stands, I encourage you to book a call with me. You can use that QR code, or you can use the website address waterrestorationmarketing.com/schedule. You'll see a calendar. You'll be able to go on there and book some time with me. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what our agency does. What's our formula to help our clients rank in that map pack? Well, first, we got to optimize every element of a Google business profile. So I'm not just talking about the business name. I'm not just talking about photos. I'm talking about the services that you offer, your hours of operation, service location. All of those things need to be updated and optimized to ensure that you're going to rank well with Google. Another thing is we want to use a verified local address and phone number. So even the tracking numbers that we use, they're always local numbers there. We always want to encourage our clients to use an address that is their actual business address. And if they're new and they're just looking for a location, I tell them, hey, even if it's more expensive and you need to spend money to get an office space that's primarily in the middle of your service area, it's worth that investment. You might save $200 or $300 a month on rent by having an office that's out in the middle of nowhere. But because that address is going to be attached to your Google business profile, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars, right? So look, if you're looking at where you're going to set up shop, where you're going to set up your office, where you're going to set up your warehouse, where you want that business entity to have listed as the business address, I encourage you to take a look at your service area and try to select an area or a location that is in the middle of that service area so that you can take advantage of that proximity, right? Because as you're improving your ranking there, you want homeowners and business owners that are in that immediate area to show you to see you, I'm sorry, when they do a search and you pop up in the map pack there. Now, you also want to focus on those trust signals that I talked about, right? So our team will go in for our clients. We'll upload photos. We'll upload what we refer to as case studies, but they're basically just project highlights, right? Before and after pictures, descriptions of what happened to that piece of property and what they were able to do in terms of restoration services. Go in and respond to all of the reviews that are coming in. So you need to put a system in place to make sure that you are getting reviews. And then as those reviews come in, you want to be responsive and comment on those reviews. Again, this is another trust signal. It's another thing that Google uses when they're factoring where they're going to rank you is, hey, how many of these trust signals do you have? If you're responding to your reviews in a quick manner, that's obviously going to help you improve your overall ranking. And then profile completion. You don't want to have any blank spots, right? You want to list your social media pages on there. You want to make sure that you've got responses to all of the reviews that have come in. You want to be uploading pictures. You want to have your company logo on there. You want to list out all your services. You want to list out your hours of operation. There shouldn't be anything that's not completed on there for a restoration company. And again, if you have any questions about how we're doing that for our clients, I'm happy to help you. Now let's talk about local links because this is a strategy that you can implement on your own. Our agency invests a lot of time and money creating links for the assets that our restoration companies have, be it their website or their Google business profile. But there are things that you can do, boots on the ground, to help get some local links to help boost your credibility and your authority in the market there. So, one thing I've seen a lot of is a lot of these restoration companies want to give back to their community. So they take part in different charity events, they do school fundraisers. It's great that you're doing that work, but there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of the work that you're doing in the community to try to garner some additional PR for your business. So a lot of these local charities have websites, they have blogs, they have articles, content that they post on a regular basis. If you are sponsoring or taking place in these charity events or these fundraisers, have them tag your business, have them tag your business's website, have them tag your Google business profile. Those websites that are for charity organizations, local government, schools, Google considers those websites to have high authority, right? So the more of these high authority websites that link back to your business, the more credibility your business gets in the eye of Google. So if you're doing that kind of work in your community, there's no reason that you can't utilize it as a resource to help improve your ranking. Then you want to take the time to get listed with things like your local chamber of commerce or any local directories. I know it's a pain in the neck, and you probably don't think a lot of people go to those directories looking for a restoration company, and you're probably right. But that does not mean that you can't create a link when you're setting up a profile on your chamber of commerce listing or these local directories, and those links will go back to your digital assets, your website, your Google business profile. Again, the chamber websites, the local directories, they have high authority in Google's eyes. So this is another example of you being able to get a link from these high authority websites going back to your business to raise your credibility in the eyes of Google. Raising your authority in the eyes of Google will ultimately have a good impact not only on your Google business profile, but also on your website's organic ranking. So if you're doing this stuff right now, or you're not doing this stuff right now, spend some time, go out there, local chambers, local directories, get listed, and make sure that you create a link back to your website. Also, for those of you that have some referral partners in your community, whether it's plumbers, adjusters, property managers, most of those people have websites and they're doing search engine optimization to boost their authority. Have them do a blog post or an article on their website where they talk about their experience referring business over to you and have them link that back to your digital asset, whether it's your Google business profile or your website. Again, if that referral partner's website continues to have high authority, well, then great, you're taking advantage of that. And again, it's going to boost your authority if they link back to your website. And then reviews. If they've got something nice to say, why not have them share it? Even if they're a referral partner and not the property owner that you did work for, you can have them go on and write reviews about their experience handing business over to you so that you can service that person in the community there. You can also host and attend community events, right? When you do that, you can then have your information out there, have your business out there, social media, people are tagging where they're at and who's involved in those events. So ask people to tag your business when they're out there attending events that you host or that you attend out in the community there. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Google Business Profile Optimization. So for me, this is kind of step one, right? You want to make sure that you're uploading photos. And I'm not talking about stock photos, right? Because anybody can go out there. Now AI has image generators that you can utilize. Google knows the difference between a stock photo that you got versus an actual picture that you took, right? It is not hard for you to get pictures of your team. Not hard for you because everybody's got a smartphone nowadays and the cameras on these things are great. Take pictures of your team members. Take pictures of your team members out in the community working with property owners. Take pictures of your technicians in their service vehicles, right? And then I know you guys do insurance claims, and I know you've got hundreds of pictures that you had to provide during the claim process. And then you take pictures after the work is done. So utilize all of those pictures that you have and upload those to your Google business profile. Again, the more you use that platform, the better visibility and the better Google is going to look at your business and ultimately improve your rankings there. Don't keyword stuff on your business name. Again, that's another thing. It worked years ago. It's just not working now. Make sure that the business name is a reflection of your actual business entity. And if you want to make wholesale changes to the way it's displayed, then you need to go out and get a fictitious business name or a DBA. Okay. List every relevant service. I've seen folks that started in carpet cleaning that added restoration, water damage restoration, mold remediation, those kind of services, but never went back and updated their Google business profile to reflect those services. Google looks at what services that you offer and they look at what keywords that person is typing in when they're doing a search. And if those two things aren't in alignment, you're not going to show up. So we work with our clients to make sure we understand all of the services they offer and make sure that all of those services are listed as services on their Google business profile. And we make sure that we keep that information updated. So that leads me to my last thing here. Update regularly and respond to reviews. So we make it a point to update our clients' Google business profiles with new content on a weekly basis. Some of you may have the time to do that, some of you may not, but you need to make sure that you're updating that Google business profile regularly, posting on there, adding new photos, and just as importantly, responding to reviews as they come in. And if you don't have the time, don't have the bandwidth to do that, partner with an agency like ours where we can take some of that burden off your plate because that makes a difference. It's gonna generate additional calls. Again, it's gonna generate additional on-site visits, and those on-site visits are gonna turn into jobs. So if you're not doing these activities, you're basically leaving money on the table, okay? So best practices for Google Business Profile, make sure you're adding posts at least every month or 2. We take that to the next level, and that we're posting for our clients on a weekly basis there. But if you're gonna try and do this yourself, you need to make sure that you're doing it multiple times over the course of a month or 2. You also there's a place on your Google business profile where people can ask questions and you can respond with answers. Here's a shocker. You can actually go in there and ask yourself questions and respond with answers. So utilize that part of your Google business profile. Go in there and ask some of the frequently asked questions that you guys get when a homeowner or a business owner calls in about your service, right? Whether they're insurance questions, whether they're questions about the leak source, whether they're any question about the services that you guys get on a regular basis over the phone from people that are inquiring about your service, you should turn those frequently asked questions into Q&As on your Google business profile and then respond to them accordingly. Again, you're using that Google business profile almost like a social media page. So you need to be active in each one of those areas. Another thing, upload new images monthly. There's no excuse for a restoration company to not have pictures and upload those pictures on a regular basis. You have to take pictures for the insurance claim process. And everybody that I see on here that I know you guys do insurance claim work. So if you're taking those pictures, you need to figure out a way to utilize those pictures and upload those as images on a regular basis to your Google business profile. Again, trust signals, it's another touch point. It's another thing that you're doing in terms of activity on that Google business profile, and Google likes activity on their platform. You also want to make sure you keep the hours and services updated. Again, don't be the carpet cleaner that added restoration as a service a year ago and still hasn't updated their Google business profile and wondering why nobody's finding them, right? You want to keep the hours of operation updated. Again, Google looks at those hours of operation, looks at what time of the day it is. Most of you guys should be 24/7 in terms of the hours of operation there because you want your Google business profile to show up whether it's 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night. You want your Google business profile to show up when a homeowner realizes they have some kind of restoration need there. All right, so let's talk a little bit about citations and name, address, and phone number consistency. We have invested in a lot of tools that our team uses, and there is a monetary investment associated with that, but we're willing to make that as we work with our clients. There are tools like this that you can take advantage of yourself, like Bright Local and Whitespark, that allow you to create and update these citations. So citations are basically your company information across a bunch of different directories there. You want to make sure that you're in as many of these directories as possible because they ultimately lead back and they lend to authority and credibility in the eyes of Google. So Bright Local and Whitespark are tools that you guys can go spend your money on and utilize to build out citations and keep those citations updated. But make sure that you keep the name, address, and phone number consistent across all of those directories and all of those assets. You also want to make sure that you get listed in specific, like industry specific directories. Three of the ones I can think of right now are restoration.org. They've got a huge directory. The IICRC, for those of you who've gotten your certifications, you definitely want to make sure you're listed in their directory. And then there's a huge contractor directory. Just Google contractor directory. It comes up. It's got tons of different home service businesses. Our website has a lot of authority. So if you can build out a citation or a profile on there, include your website address, that'll link back. And again, those backlinks create authority for you, and Google looks at that as again, they're looking at that when they're considering ranking factors there. Um, you also want to fix any inconsistencies, right? You may have hired an agency in the past that set up all these citations for you and got you listed in all these directories. Maybe something's changed. Maybe they used a tracking number as opposed to your primary phone number. So you've got four different numbers out there. Google's pulling data from these directories. So these citations, if they don't match, that's not a good thing for you. You want your name, your address, and your phone number to be consistent across all the citations that are being built for you. So you have to go ahead and check that regularly to make sure that those citations are accurate. They've got the same name, address, and phone number across the platforms. Now, one of the problems that people get into is they'll update these directories and they'll build out these citations, but there are four primary citation aggregators that actually these directories, even if you update the information yourself, they're going to go back to on a regular basis, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, 3 months, and they're going to go pull the information directly from these aggregators and repopulate your profile. So you could go in and fix your directory or your citation listing. And if it's not updated with Factual or Axiom or Infogroup or Newstar, and that's where that directory is pulling their information when they do refreshes, because they don't just rely on the business owner to update it. They pull them from these aggregator sites. So you need to make sure that you go directly to the aggregator sites and also update your information. So take your time to make sure that you're correctly listed on Data Axle and Newstar and Foursquare and Infogroup. Again, this is unfortunately a massive time suck. And I know a lot of you are thinking, man, I don't have time barely to manage the business right now. Well, that's another reason to find a good strategic digital marketing partner that can take this work off of your plate and make sure that your citations are correct with these aggregators and across all of these directories there. Citation tools that you guys can invest in. Again, we spend thousands of dollars every month on these tools for our clients to improve their rankings and make sure that they have the right information across all of these directories. But hey, if you want to spend money and do it on your own, there's companies like Yext. I mentioned Bright Local, Longenex. You can go in there and utilize their tool to update and maintain multiple directory listings and build out those citations. Again, this is going to be an investment of time and money on your part. We do this for all of our clients. It's included in our programs there. All right. Another step here. Again, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to beat the table on this one. You need to get more real reviews. Okay. I have talked to restoration companies that have literally invested hundreds of thousands of dollars with offshore companies to get fake reviews. And it happens every single time. It looks good. It looks good. Uh-oh, their Google business profile got suspended. Okay. And now they can't get that Google business profile back. So you want to make sure that you're invested in getting real reviews from the property owners that you do work for in your community there. You should really gamify it. Like one of the best clients that we work with in terms of getting reviews, they actually I think they had us create a QR code. They went down to a local printer, had stickers made, and those stickers were put on the back of every one of their technicians' phones. Now, the good thing about a QR code is as that technician is wrapping up equipment and finishing out a job, they can walk up to that homeowner, have that homeowner scan that QR code. What does a homeowner use to scan a QR code? They're using their cell phone, and it'll automatically prompt them to write a review directly on their Google business profile. I love this. Do it before you're done with the job. You're standing there, the homeowner's standing there. There's a sense of obligation, especially if they had a great experience with you. They're going to write that review before you finish loading up the service vehicle, right? So get your technicians to ask for the reviews while they're on site. Ask them via their cell phone because everybody's already logged into Google on their cell phone anyway. So it's it's not a lot of work on the homeowner's part. So make sure you empower your technicians to get reviews while they're on site. Then you can also use SMS and email technologies to request reviews, but that needs to happen quickly, right? So we've got a great a tool that we use for our clients. It also takes advantage of some AI stuff to make it really, really easy when the client lets us know about work for us to send out an SMS message to get that homeowner to immediately write a review. So if you don't have something like that in place for your restoration company, reach out to us because it's part of our program, because that's how important reviews are for folks. You can also leave behind review cards, right? Just like you've got a business card or just like you've got a postcard, you can put that QR code, you can put your website address and ask those homeowners to leave reviews for you. This can work, but the best thing to do are the first two, right? Ask your technicians to get to utilize the QR code to get reviews while they're on site, and then immediately send out an SMS message for those that you didn't get within 24 hours, right? You want to work with your team, especially the folks that are in the field, and you want to train them to actually start planting the seed while they're doing the job and explain the value, how much value your business is going to get out of that homeowner sharing their experience working with you. You guys do good work. Homeowners are not going to feel bad or obligated. They're getting an opportunity to share their experience. And when they share that experience, that helps you get more business. So make sure you train your team members to talk about and get these reviews when they're on that property and getting that work done. I have restoration companies that we work with that have really turned this into a great opportunity for their technicians to make some extra money, right? They give them gift cards based on the number of reviews that they're able to get on a weekly basis or a monthly basis there. Find some way to incentivize the people that work for you to go out there and ask more property managers to give, or homeowners or business owners to give you guys reviews. I'm telling you, it's worth every penny that you spend. Okay. Now, why are these reviews important? Again, they are a huge ranking factor when it comes to your map listing. Google is looking at proximity. They're looking at your authority. They're looking at the authority of the website that's connected to the Google business profile. They're also looking at your reputation. And your reputation with Google needs to be good, right? So it's not just the total number of reviews. That's important, but it's also the frequency and the average star rating. So you want to try and get as many 5-star reviews as awesome as possible, because this, again, is a huge ranking factor when it comes to Google. And the better your reputation is on your Google business profile, the more opportunities you're going to have to convert those phone calls into on-site visits and jobs, right? If you are a company that is local to the community, you've got hundreds of 5-star reviews on your Google business profile. When that homeowner sees that and calls you, there's already a sense of trust, right? So what are we looking for? Know, like, and trust. That trust is established by things that other people that you've worked with in that community have posted about on your Google business profile. So it's going to lead to more conversions for you guys. Each review is really a piece of social proof. And you can then take those reviews, like we do for our clients, and post those as basically a piece of marketing content on their websites. A lot of the websites that we put together, we've got some tools that allow those reviews as they come in to populate on the website as well. Again, more social proof, more proof to potential homeowners and business owners that you guys are looking to work with, that you guys do good work there. You also want to optimize your website on page. Website optimization is super important. This is what search engine optimization is about. When I do audits of websites, one of the first things I look at is, do you have pages for each one of the services that you offer? I don't care if it's water, mold, fire and smoke, asbestos abatement, biohazard, trauma. Every one of the primary services that you offer needs to have its own page with relevant content. Google is going to index those pages, and that is ultimately what Google's going to use to decide whether you have authority based on those services there and whether or not your website ranks there, right? So make sure that every service that you offer has a dedicated service page on your website. Then the next thing that I look for when I'm doing a website audit is, do they have pages for each one of the major cities in their service area, right? So that's, again, you don't just want to be an authority when it comes to those services. You also want to be an authority when it comes to those cities in your service area. So I'm looking to see, hey, all right, I see service pages. I see a map that has their service area, but I don't see specific pages dedicated to each one of the major cities, right? That is what Google is indexing. That is what Google will use to determine whether or not they're going to rank you not just in your immediate service area, but in the surrounding cities that you also want to get jobs in. And then what we do is to take it a little bit further. Not only do we have the service pages and the city pages, but ultimately over time, as we're doing ongoing SEO for our clients, we build city pages or service pages specifically for each one of the cities. If your digital marketing agency isn't doing this stuff right now for you, I'm telling you, you're missing out on a way for you to improve your visibility and your ranking organically. And that just means you're missing out on jobs. So this is the kind of thing that you need to do. And if you have any questions about whether or not this is being done for you, reach out to us, book a call with me. We'll go through and we'll actually do an audit to see what kind of activity is taking place. The last thing is, if your website was built 5, 10 years ago, it's time for a new website. The websites need to be fast and they need to be optimized for mobile users, right? You need to understand that 60+% of the people that are looking for a restoration company are doing so from their cell phone or their tablet. So if your website is outdated and not optimized for mobile users, they're not having a good experience, you're not getting calls, and you're not getting jobs. Okay, so if your website hasn't been looked at or rebuilt in the last few years, it's probably time for an upgrade. You also want to make sure that you have strong calls to action. So I see a lot of people with a estimate here button. No, you want to make sure that phone number is located in the upper right-hand corner. That phone number is all over the place because you're not looking for website submissions. You're not looking for forms. You're looking for actual live phone calls from people that are in the middle of a water damage emergency, for example. So you want to make sure that number is part of your call to action and it's everywhere, no matter what page they're on the website there. Um, from an off-page SEO standpoint, there's a lot of things that we do for our clients. We go out and purchase and identify websites with high authority as it relates to the services they offer, and create backlinks to their websites and their Google business profile. We'll even look at local municipalities, news outlets, anything that we think that has high authority. We want to get links on that and link back to the website because, again, that's another thing that Google's looking at when they're trying to determine where they're going to rank you. Okay. You want to take let's call them case studies, or the highlighted projects that you do every single month, and you want to share that information across the globe. So we have ways that we can syndicate that content to get more eyes, more visibility, and more links back to your website that just boosts the overall authority of your restoration company. And then there are tools that allow you, like Nearby Now, again, another investment that you're going to have to make, that allow you to run heat maps and see where you're currently ranking as compared to other restoration companies when it comes to those maps based on specific keywords. This is something that we do on a regular basis, almost monthly for our clients, because we want to make sure that the work that we're doing is moving the needle and we're seeing an upward trajectory, not just in where they rank, but also in the calls that are coming in and the jobs that they're generating. So if you want to make that investment, you definitely should. There's tons of tools out there. There's Lead Snap and Nearby Now. Those are two that I can think of off the top of my head that you can invest in to track where you guys are ranking with the things. So I want to show you guys how important this is. So I've got a couple of clients that we worked with. I want to show you, once the needle is moved and you start to get these ranking results and improve your ranking, what that means to you guys from a dollar and cents standpoint. So we started doing search engine optimization for a company called GenCon. Uh, really nice guy. We started a few months ago. The first month I think that we tracked this, in February, they got 2 leads as a result of their Google business profile, and neither one of them actually turned into jobs. We kept at it. We kept at it. We were diligent in all the activities that we just talked about. In March, they got 2 leads. Didn't turn into jobs. But in April, they got 7 leads for over $25,000 in work specifically from the Google business profile. And if you look at the map on the left, you look at the map on the right, we're just talking about April to May. So once that flip is switched, that switch is flipped, you can start to see really good results. If you look at those maps, all the places that are in green are 1 listing. So that's where his office is located. In that proximity, we're going to continue to look to make that entire screen green. But search engine optimization does take a little time, right? So you can see an improvement based on our activities that's leading to new jobs. And we track all of this, right? We know what calls are coming directly from the Google business profile so that we can show our clients, our restoration companies that we're working with, they're getting a good return on investment for utilizing our digital marketing services. Here's another one out in Arizona. They went February 0 calls. Then all of a sudden we started doing this work and it was just little incremental increases, right? They went from 0 calls coming in off their Google business profile to 50 calls coming in March, and then 97 calls coming in in April. Now, we're working with Zona to make sure we find out which of those calls actually turned into jobs because we need them to report that stuff to us. But that's a huge influx in call volume. That's a huge influx in lead volume, right? And I know they do a good job of answering those calls, turning those calls into on-site visits, and I know his technicians do a great job of selling jobs. So this is going to make a massive impact for this business, and this can also make a massive impact for your restoration company. So again, I know some of you guys are do-it-yourselfers. That's great. Invest the time, invest the money, do all the things that we talked about today. If you want to know kind of where you stand and maybe get some ideas on what you can do to move the needle, please use the QR code, use the website address, waterrestorationmarketing.com/schedule. Reach out to me. I'll show you what you should be doing. And for those of you that are not interested in doing it yourself and really want a strategic growth partner, I would encourage you to book a call right now. I'll talk to you a little bit about how our agency, Water Restoration Marketing, can partner with you guys and deliver exceptional results. Get you the kind of results that Gen Con and Zona are getting from working with us. So again, I want to thank you all for jumping on here. Really appreciate you giving me some time on this Thursday. If there's any questions in the chat, Kevin, let me know. If not, we will have this available on replay. You'll all be getting an email with a link. Have your team members listen to it. Have your business partners listen to it. Ask them to decide, hey, are we going to make the investment to do these things on our own, or should we find a strategic growth partner that can help us do those things? And if you're looking for a strategic growth partner, we are definitely a great way to go because this is what we've been doing exclusively for the last 8 years. So, all right, Jeff, thank you. I appreciate it. Looking forward to speaking with you. Any other questions or anything like that in the chat before we let you guys go today? Adam, thank you for joining. Jeff, again, thank you for joining. Matt, I appreciate you. Puddles, I know who that is. Thank you for joining on here. Yosef. Kevin, do we have any other questions or anything like that in the chat? I don't see anything right now.
No, I answered the questions as we went along.
Oh, perfect. All right, awesome. Well, thank you all. I really appreciate you giving us some time. Look forward to potentially speaking and working with all of you. Again, I encourage you, whether you're going to try and do this yourself or you're looking for a strategic partner to help you with your digital marketing, use the QR code on the screen or use that website address, and let's book some time so that we can talk and figure out a game plan to get you into that map pack so you can start taking advantage of those jobs. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Restoration Pros Unplugged podcast. If you like what you heard today, be sure to subscribe, share, and also leave us a 5-star review. We'll be back with more interviews and discussions with restoration industry leaders really soon. In the meantime, if you're a restoration company looking to add more high-value water jobs, you can reach me and my team at waterrestorationmarketing.net. Again, that's waterrestorationmarketing.net. I look forward to hearing from you soon.